You are listening to the Overcome Pornography for Good podcast, episode 243. Welcome to the Overcome Pornography for Good podcast, where we take a research-based, trauma-informed, and results-focused approach to quitting porn. This approach has been revolutionary and changed thousands and thousands of lives. I'm your host, Sarah Brewer.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the podcast episode this week. I'm Hunter Garrett, one of the coaches here at the Center for Overcoming, and I'm so glad you are here. Today, I wanted to touch on something that may honestly change the way you approach your journey to overcoming pornography and to freedom of what you're really looking for. It's this simple but powerful truth. Mindset comes before behavior, self-trust comes before success, and belief comes before breakthrough. Now, if you've been grinding, you've been working so hard, you're doing all the right things, and you're using the tools, and you're showing up to group calls, or you're showing up to the podcast, or to your meetings that you're jumping onto, and you still feel stuck, this episode is for you. Now, let's talk about why all the effort in the world just won't work if the foundation isn't there. If you don't have the basic tools to understand how to process emotion, or to work through certain struggles, the foundation, it's not going to work. You're not going to be able to find success here. And so many guys try to overcome pornography by focusing on what they do. They focus on the action. What filter should I get? What new one works? What's the best routine for my morning? How many days clean am I right now? How many days sober? And listen, I'm all for structure and strategy. I really do think that can bring so much hope and success. But this is what I've seen over and over again. You can't fix a mindset problem with behavior-only solutions. If I'm just trying to do the actions and my mindset stays the exact same, you're not going to find success. You're not going to find as much success as you're looking for. If you don't trust yourself, and if you still carry shame and self-doubt around, and if you keep looking at your past as proof that you'll never be free, it doesn't matter how perfect your tools are. You'll always find yourself back in the same loop. Because freedom does not start with actions, okay? Freedoms don't start with actions. It starts with the identity. It starts with your mindset, understanding who you are. It's not about trying harder. It's about thinking different. One of the biggest things that holds so many people back is the lack of self-trust. Pornography erodes that confidence. It teaches you to escape those emotions rather than engage in them. It teaches you that failure is inevitable. And I say this over and over and over again. Emotions and urges have something to say. They are wise, right? I'm going to say that over and over again. They're wise and they have something to say. So let's engage in that and see what they have to say. So even when guys know the tools and they know what they should be doing, they still second guess themselves. They don't trust that they can handle those urges. You don't trust that change is really possible. And you don't trust yourself that there's a future that looks different than your past. And here's the thing. You are not going to overcome pornography if you don't believe you can handle this, okay? So what we're going to be doing here today in this podcast is talking about how you can handle this and that how you can find success. And it all starts with confidence. Building that confidence is huge. And I'm so excited for what we have in store for you today. Now, that's exactly why rebuilding your mindset is the very first step. You have to rebuild your mindset. If you continue to tell yourself certain things, you're not going to find success, right? You need to believe that you are capable, not just someday, but right now, okay? You need to walk into each day knowing I can do hard things, I can ground myself, and I can build a life that I want to live. Now, I want to throw out this little analogy for you. You know, if you guys have listened to any of my other podcasts, you know I love analogies. It really ties things together pretty in a nice little bow. So I want you to picture an elite athlete. Now, this elite athlete, he trains hard, he goes to the gym every single day, he eats clean, he does recovery, he watches film. Physically, this elite athlete, he has it all, right? He's ready. But when it comes to game day, he crumbles every single time. And it gets frustrating for him. And why is that? Why is this elite athlete doing everything he possibly can? He's getting to the gym, he's eating clean, he does recovery, he watches film. Physically, he's ready to go. But in his mind, he doesn't believe that he can succeed. He doubts himself. He plays it safe. And it doesn't matter how strong he is. Because if he doesn't believe he's capable, he's going to show up without that power and without that presence that he's looking for. Okay? And this exact same idea applies to recovery, learning how to overcome pornography for good, or in the broader scheme of things, becoming intellectually strong. Now, you might have the perfect morning routine. You might have filters on every single device that you cannot break, or weekly accountability calls, or support groups. But if you walk into each day thinking, I'm probably going to fail, or man, here's another day. I hope I don't fail. I hope I don't slip. That's exactly what you're going to start to do, right? You're going to continue to fall into this pattern. Now, this sounds a little cheesy, but winners don't train just their bodies, okay? An athlete doesn't train just their bodies. They train their minds just as much or more. They trust in the preparation. They do visualization. They play to win, not just to avoid messing up, and they believe in who they are and what they're becoming, not just in a physical sense, but in a mindfulness sense. So I want you to ask yourself, am I walking into each day like someone who's already lost, or am I walking into each day knowing that you're built to win? You're knowing you're built to process that urge, to process those emotions that are uncomfortable, and continue to find success. Now, another shift that changes everything is this. Stop living from your past. Start living from your future. And I know that sounds a little blunt. And as you guys get to know me, whether you're in the program or outside of the program, you're going to know that I'm a little blunt with a couple things. Okay. And this is one of them. Stop living from your past. Okay. I promise you it's not doing as much good as you think it is. And let's start living from your future. What do you want to become? Treat yourself like somebody you want to become. If you continue to tell yourself, oh man, I view pornography and, I've done it for X amount of years and, that's really hard to continue to live that life knowing you want to be somewhere else. So if your actions are driven by who you used to be, the guy who kept messing up, the person who continued to hide or fail, then you're going to continue to repeat that cycle, even if you're quote unquote doing the right thing. But when your actions are driven by who you want to become, future focused, someone who's strong, someone who's free, someone who's honest and grounded, then every single decision starts to move you into that direction that you want. I want you to ask yourself, what would the free, in free, I use that loosely. What would the free version of me do today? What would the person who has overcome pornography for good do today? Are they going to continue to say, oh man, I'm struggling with porn and it's so hard? Or are they going to say, I'm continuing to overcome this and it's so exciting? Or how would you respond to an urge when it comes up if you are living in future focus? Or what does confidence look like to you in your daily routine if you're living future focused? When you lead with your identity, behavior is going to follow. It's not the other way around. It's not, oh, I'm going to do this thing and it's going to make me become a better person. It's, I need to believe that I'm becoming a better person and behavior will follow. When you lead with belief, actions also start to align as well. Okay, your beliefs and your actions are going to become aligned, and it's so cool to see that happen in real time. Now, I want you guys to kind of practice this for a little bit. If you want to make freedom more achievable, here's what we have to focus on. Rebuilding your self-trust. You have to start with the small promises. We're not going to promise that you're never going to view porn again, because that's a big promise to keep. And honestly, it might set you up for failure, and it's not fun. Okay, so let's start with the small promises. Let's follow through with these small promises. Prove to yourself that you are dependable. That, hey, you know what? I'm going to wake up in the morning. I'm going to make my bed. You make your bed. You come home from work that day. Boom, bed's made. You prove to yourself that you can do simple things. Or, hey, I'm going to wake up. I'm going to make breakfast. Or I'm going to wake up and go to work. And I'm going to go home and I'm going to make dinner. Okay, so setting yourself up with these small promises is going to prove to yourself that you can follow through with things you tell yourself. The second thing is trust the tools, but don't just depend on them and hope that they work for you. The connection, the calls, the structure of all of these things that we have within the program and, things we have outside of the program, they're here to support you, but you are the engine. You are the one that moves forward. The tools are not going to physically move you forward. You have to do that. Now, the third thing is live with your future identity. This is something I kind of talked about earlier, right? You have to start showing up as the person you are becoming. even if you don't fully feel like him yet. Okay. And it's kind of weird because a lot of people say, oh, just fake it till you make it. But it's not about pretending. We're not going to fake this thing until we make it, right? It's about practicing. It's about putting in the work and practicing these tools and practicing your mindfulness and practicing becoming future focused. I want you to practice thinking like someone who's already free. Practice walking in hard moments with calm and clarity. And practice believing that this time will be different. I promise you it will. So here's what I want you to reflect on as you walk away from this episode this week, okay? And, I hope you guys have listened in this far. I think this episode's going to be super exciting to re-listen to and, kind of have in your back pocket. But I want you to think about these things. Where have you been relying on tools but neglecting that belief? Or what would it look like to train your mindset like an elite athlete, right? What would that look like for you? And most importantly, what's one small shift that you can make today to trust yourself again? Like I said, it doesn't even have to involve overcoming pornography right now. Because if I'm setting this promise of, I'm never going to view. If I view again, I never follow through with my promises. That's what's going to go through my head, right? But if I say, hey, I'm going to make my bed in the morning, or I'm going to make breakfast, or I'm going to have dinner, or I'm going to go hang out with some friends or family. If you can promise yourself those things and follow through with them, you're going to start to trust yourself again. And then you can start to advance that into overcoming pornography. Hey, you know what? I'm going to process an urge today. Oh, you know what? I'm going to go all day without viewing pornography. And the way I'm going to do that is working through this mindfulness practice that I really like and that resonates with me. Now, you don't have to do this perfectly. If there's a slip up that happens, it's okay. What we're trying to do here is say, hey, we're learning how to trust yourself again. Okay, so you don't have to do it perfectly. You just need to show up from belief in yourself, not fear, from vision and not shame, and from who you're becoming and not who you've been, okay? Being future focused is huge in this. It's going to bring confidence. It's going to bring trust. It's going to bring success. From the moment you shift your mindset, the whole game changes. And that's when real progress begins. Having confidence in yourself makes all the difference. I promise you that. I'm still working on it myself. It really does make a difference. Having that confidence and trusting in yourself each and every day is going to bring success. And it's going to make overcoming pornography exciting. Thank you so much for jumping in this week on the podcast. You guys are amazing. Tune in next week. Have a fantastic week. Bye-bye.
I want to invite you to come and listen to my free class, How to Overcome Pornography for Good Without Using Willpower. We talk about how to stop giving into urges without pure willpower or relying on phone filters so that you can actually stop wanting pornography. We talk about how to stop giving up after a few weeks or months. And spoiler alert, the answer isn't have more willpower. And then lastly, we talk about how to make a life without porn easily sustainable and permanent. If you're trying to quit porn, this class is a game changer. So you can go and sign up at sarahbrewer.com/masterclass, and it is totally free.